Welcome back to the Anything Goes with Jackson Neill podcast. Today, my guest is Anna Clendening, talking about her debut EP. Really fun interview I did with her. But before we jump into that, remember, you can check out the podcast on SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify. Anywhere you like to listen to podcasts, you can find it. But a quick note, this is an in-person interview. I went and met Anna Clendening before her show at World Cafe Live in Philadelphia. So if you want to catch the video portion of the interview with Anna and I, go down to the first link in the description on whatever platform you're on right now and go over to jacksonneillpodcasts.com. It'll take you right to this episode and you can watch the in-person video with Anna and I. So Anna discusses her debut EP, Waves, an EP that I really enjoyed listening to. It's a really cool take on the kind of current pop music sound of today. She talks about that, as well as just her career in general, moving forward, this tour that she just did, what she has planned coming up. Really cool things. I had an awesome time talking with Anna, and here's my conversation with her. How's this current tour going?
This current tour is great. There was a little bit of a management turnover right before the tour, and things were kind of crazy. And then now I feel like I'm a restaurant. We're under new management, and things are great. The shows have been great. A lot of people have been driving a lot of hours to come see me, which is kind of crazy, because I've put music out online, so you never know how that is going to translate to ticket sales, I guess. But the turnout's been really good.
Yeah, and I read of your first time headlining a tour, right? What's that like?
Headlining a tour is it's terrible. No, I'm just kidding. It's really cool because all of those people are, well, not all of those, I mean, some people are there for the opening act too, of course, but those people are there to see you. That's nuts. You're what the heck? I used to just sing in my bedroom for my camera, and now I'm singing for people across the country. It's a surreal feeling, but it's a good feeling for sure.
It's wild to see it's your name up there that they're paying the tickets to see.
Yeah, I know. I'm you guys don't even know how to say it. It's it's really cute though. People come up, they're are you Anna Clendening? And I'm yep. Are you Anna Clendening? Yep, that's me. So, I don't ever correct them. I'm you can call me however you want to address me.
You bought the ticket, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they get the first name right. If they were oh my god, you're Amanda Clendening, I'd be
well, something's wrong there.
Yeah, as long as you get the first name right.
So, you recently released your EP, Waves. Just tell me a little bit about the process behind that.
Grueling. No, I'm just kidding. The process behind Waves was kind of long, actually. So I wrote a lot of those songs when I first moved to LA, and then I signed to a record label, and then that kind of slowed the process down, because then I had to officially release stuff through the label, and things go, I don't want to say things go a lot slower when you move through a label, but when you're by yourself, you could literally just put a song out whenever you want, and I guess you put things out properly when you're on a label. So there's a release schedule and promo for it, and it's kind of crazy. Some of my songs have been on the radio. A lot of people back home have messaged me and been "Is this you on the radio?" It was some girl just messaged me. I was I was walking by Forever 21 and I heard a familiar voice, and that's been really cool. This is my first official release. I've put stuff out in the past, but I'm really not proud of it. I hate saying I don't like it because I wrote it, but I haven't really found my sound and my style until recently.
What do you think is different about this one though that makes you more proud of it, I guess, and more this is your style?
It's just me, and I know that sounds really cliche, but I was lost for so long, for the past 5 years. Just didn't know who I was, didn't know what I wanted to do. And then within the past year and a half, I really found who I was. And I think by me finding myself, period, it translated into my music. And so I think that's helped a lot.
Mm-hmm. So you said you've been working on these songs for a while. How long was the entire process? I guess from first writing it until release.
Some songs 2 years.
Okay.
Other songs just like a couple months. It's really weird. Like you can write a song and sit on it and it'd be like completely finished, and it doesn't come out for like 2 years. Like Drowning and Bend and Break were done for a long time. And that it's like a blessing and a curse, because like you're like, okay, it's done, it's out of the way, but then you come back to it, and like a couple months later you're like, you know, you start to doubt it, and you start to like overproduce and like overfix things, and like, oh, that word doesn't sound right, and you just like, you overthink things, and that's like, I think the only downfall to it. Plus people being like, when's it coming out, and you're like, I'll let you know as soon as I know.
So I guess with those songs that did take that longer time, what was it about those songs that you were like, okay, even after this time passing, I still feel like this is my sound nowadays?
I think because they were songs that I wrote when I was going through something. So I really put a lot of myself, if not all of myself, into my music, and I think that's what I really like about music, is I'm able to just express myself. I'm a very selfish person in that way, and that way only, that I write music for myself first. So like if I'm, you know, going through a breakup, or I'm really happy, or I'm really sad, or going through like really big bout of depression, I'll write how I'm feeling to kind of like get that off my chest. And then it's just an amazing added bonus that people are like, oh, I like it, I relate to it.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, I guess as a new artist, is that hard, I guess, to be that like that open, like as an artist?
No. It's really weird when people are like, you're so brave. I'm like, no. People should be this vulnerable. We're all like nothing. We're all human. I know that sounds so cliche, but we're all human at the end of the day. And like a lot of stuff I talk about is like, you know, mental health and mental health issues, and people are like, I love how transparent you are. Like not a lot of people talk about it. And I just think it's weird, because if it's such a daily, like it's such a big thing in our daily lives, why are we not talking about it more? Like, it kills me when, you know, we hear about, you know, people passing due to depression. And like, oh, I never knew about it because you never talked about it. And it's like, because we don't talk about it. There's like this stigma behind mental illness, and I'm like, it doesn't bother me to talk about it. I'll talk about it every day. And like, not only do I talk about it, but I'm like open with it on my social media, and I write music about it. And I think music's been a really helpful way to kind of lead that conversation, because music is, it's a great way to express yourself, and like it's kind of like a sneaky way too. Like you're like sending out your message without even people knowing it. They're just like singing along, and you're like starting a conversation about it.
But you're so right. I mean, it's like that thing. It's like the elephant in the room that nobody really wants to touch on. It's like,
but it's very clearly there.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so writing personal music and being an artist who's open with that kind of thing. With this being your debut release, what did you want people to learn about you as an artist from this first offering?
That's a good question.
Yeah, loaded question there.
I would have to say I wanted people to learn exactly what my title says, waves. That life has ups and downs, and it's very obvious. Life is not, you know, like a straight downward path. It's not a straight upward path. We have peaks and we have valleys, and that's something that I've finally come to terms with within like the past 2 years, because I've had a lot of highs, and then immediately after that I've had a lot of lows, and I never really understood why that was happening, because everybody else, you know, I had a lot of like friends who came up through social media like I did and go on to have these like great music careers, and for me it was like taking longer, and I didn't understand that. I was like, they never have the fall down, they never have the fall back, and then one day it clicked, and I was like, they do, they probably just don't show it. And I want to be that person that like I strive to be the person that I have needed my whole life.
Okay. Someone
who's just open and is like, it's okay that we don't know what's going on. Like when I was 13, 14, 15, like I was like trying, you know, in like high school and middle school, high school, and even college, you're like trying to figure yourself out. You don't really know who you are, and you're like afraid to really be yourself. And I think I know I needed someone like me to be like, life is up and down, and everything I'm saying sounds so cliche, but like,
It's a mallet.
but like finding yourself. It took me so long to find myself, but like, I want everybody to truly be who they are, because I was not myself for a long time, and finally being myself, I'm like, oh, thank God, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels good. You're not trying, nothing. You don't have to do anything,
Yeah,
but
it's
just exist.
But sometimes it's so hard, right?
Yeah. It's the only thing we have to do, and sometimes it's the hardest thing we can do.
So yeah, because I've read your music being described as, you know, positive and uplifting at certain points. Is that kind of a message you want to be sharing in addition to like your own kind of story?
Yes and no. I want people to know that things do get better, but I also am very realistic and also push the idea that like, while things may get better, things will be bad sometimes. And I think that's something that a lot of people, they tend to gloss over. They're like, oh, you know, like, smile, positive vibes. And I'm like, no, you're gonna have bad days, and if you don't prepare for those bad days, then they're gonna be 10 times worse. Like, I'm not like, oh, life's so sad and life's gonna be so bad, but it's like, this is life. We are human. Bad things will happen. Maybe not a lot, but we need to prepare for them. And like, because, I mean, I lived my life I lived my life for like 3 years, from 2013 to 2017, thinking that things were just going to get better and better and better, and I was going to be fine. And then I relapsed in my like anxiety, and like shit hit the fan, and I had no way of like, I didn't know how to come back from that, because I hadn't set myself up to prepare for it. I hadn't prepared for it.
Exactly.
And I had just kind of brainwashed myself into being like, positive, let's be positive, without being like, let's also be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So, full circle, yes, I do push a positive message, but a realistic one as well, if that makes sense.
It's that one where you have to have positive, but also to balance the idea that, you know, like you said, every day is not going to be perfect. Every day is not going to be.
But at least you get another day, you know.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to touch on that. Like you just said there, like in 2017, a big change happened. How do you think that changed your music and influenced you as an artist when such a big life event like that happens?
Oh. Shit.
Does it affect your artistry?
I mean, I feel like every day does. I mean, it kind of affected it negatively for a while, because I wasn't working. It was 6 months of me just trying to get better. But like with everything in life, I feel my therapist told me that like there was a study done, and kids had to write about one event that shaped their lives, and every event was negative, but it like helped shape them in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
And while it hurt me by not being able to put out music and not being as like on top of my game and writing and stuff like that, I think it helped me more so as a person, which, you know, in return helps my artist project. But just like, I really learned how to properly take care of myself and how to properly prepare for things like that, and that in return is reflected in my music, if that makes any sense.
I
kind of like lost myself for a second. Was like, Anna, where are you going with this? I have no idea. Bring it back.
I definitely think it makes sense. I think it all, again, you're all kind of tying it into that whole idea of, like, you mentioned the waves, the up and the downs, and being prepared. And
like, I mean, it sucked. It affected me negatively and positively. Like, at the time, it affected me negatively, and now it has affected me positively. That word is killing me today. Affected me positively.
It's being able to take that negative experience and turning it into something that you can grow from. Mm-hmm. I think that's wild that you mentioned this study where everyone said something negative. I wouldn't think that, but now that I think about it, you do realize that. And my answer would probably be negative even.
You're literally forced to. This is how I tackle my problems. I'm like, Anna, you can like when, let's see, when I like a big life event happens, like you have one of two options. You can do nothing about it and let it get worse, or you can saddle up and get stronger and grow from it. And I mean, usually both options involve crying, but one just involves less crying. I always tell myself, I'm like, you're allowed to cry, but then as soon as you're done crying, you have to figure out a solution to what is wrong.
And that's sometimes the hardest part, honestly. It's just not getting stuck in that constant cycle.
Yeah. I allot myself time to be sad, to be upset, to be scared, and then it's like, no one's gonna fix your problems but you. So like, let's go.
That's an awesome message.
It's not easy.
Oh yeah, well.
It's not easy at all.
A lot of times things aren't easy.
No, like growing up, like it's scary. You're like, and it's like, one day, you know how you always joke like, oh, I need an adult, and then one day you're like, I need an adult, and you're like, I am the adult, and that's like terrifying.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like where I am in my life right now, and there's just been this whole shift over the past couple of years, which is like, really, I guess, kind of why my artist project is now starting to kind of form, because I'm finally like figuring, well, no one ever really like figures stuff out. I'm just kind of like figuring out how to be less steps behind.
Okay. So I feel interesting. So you kind of view yourself almost behind right now.
Well, like, life, I feel like things, you'll never be ahead of life and what it throws at you, but you can always try to like catch up more, I think.
Okay.
I 2 years ago couldn't predict that I would be headlining a tour. I couldn't tell you where I'll be in 2 years. I could tell you where I want to be in 2 years, but I could be in school in 2 years. I hope I'm alive in 2 years. But I don't know what I'm saying.
I think it's all coming full circle though, at the very least.
There's bits and pieces in there somewhere.
Yeah, well, I'm able to follow pretty well, so I think everyone else will be able to do an all right job. So you finish up this EP. You're on this tour right now. I guess my question is, what comes next?
That's a really good question. I would like to know that answer.
How you haven't really thought about it?
I mean, I think about it every day, but I guess touring is like the biggest thing right now. So like right now I'm headlining, and then at the end of May, beginning of June, I'll be opening up for Nash, and then releasing music somewhere in between. But like things have been so busy. Like I didn't realize how busy tour was until I was on it, and you literally are just like, all right, what's next in the next 5 minutes? Like, let alone like the next however many more days I have left on tour. But obviously touring is the main priority, and then not writing, I write all the time, putting out a single or two would be the goal.
Gotcha. So you're writing all the time. I guess what kind of things are inspiring you right now?
Everything. I know that's such a generic answer. It's really funny though. Once I started writing, I didn't really start writing until 2000. I didn't start taking writing seriously until the end of 2017, and then I took a break from writing for 6 months when I was home, and then like got back on it in the summer of last year. But like everything, like I could be going through Facebook and like someone will say something, I'm like, oh, that reminds me, like this could be a good line in a song. Or like one of my songs, Drowning, I was literally on Facebook and I saw a video clip of a movie, and it was, I think it's from the movie like Brothers or something. Wow, I really should know if I'm gonna tell the origin story of a song. But anyways, there was a movie clip, and there was a guy suffering PTSD, and he was out in the yard, and his brother, they were like fighting, and the police have been called, and he's like, what do you want? Like, what's going on? He goes, I don't know, I'm drowning. Okay. And I was like, oh, mental illness, drowning. And I like shut my laptop and ran into my room and just like wrote this song in like 20 minutes.
Really?
It was like, this is it, and sometimes I get inspiration, in like a room, like with other people. I do a lot of like co-writing now, which is really cool. I was kind of against it. I was like, oh, I don't want somebody else writing my stuff. But like, it's actually a really cool way to like take all of these ideas I have and then like funnel them and be like, you know, Anna, this one's, I've never been in a room where someone's been like, you know, Anna, that's pretty crap, but you know, they're like, what about if we say it this way? And I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes way more sense, you know, like, it's pretty cool. But like everything inspires me, from, you know, my friends' lives to my life to other strangers' lives to television to movies. It's kind of random.
Just whatever you're feeling that day.
Yeah, whatever I'm doing that day, whatever I'm feeling.
Gotcha. I love that the song "Drowning" is actually one of my favorite songs off the EP. I was listening to it a couple times in the past couple days. I love that in the production, that like almost that voice you hear in the background.
Sounds like they're drowning, right?
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking. I was like, wow, this is good. Like,
Tall's gonna love that. My friend Tall produced it, and he was like, so I gave him the lyrics, and I gave him the chord progression, and he just like added this chopped vocal, and all of us in the room were like, oh my god, that chopped vocal almost sounds like I'm drowning, but he got it from like, I don't know, one of those like, what are they called, like plugins or something. Like it wasn't me saying I'm drowning. It just like happened that way, and it was like crazy. We were like, oh my god, like,
that works.
We flipped out in the studio. Yeah, it was really cool though. So I'm cool that resonates with other people outside of who wrote it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I definitely love that part of the song. So you have your show tonight, the rest of this tour. You have some stuff coming up with Nash. How are you feeling?
Honestly, I feel like shit. Touring is hard. I wouldn't just like wake up one day and want to be like, I want to tour. Mm-hmm. Just because I like touring. Like, my body and my brain were not meant for this at all. But so there's like that part of me, but then there's the other part of me that's like, I want to tour all the time. Mm-hmm. Because I had a moment at my Columbus show where I was singing Drowning, and I like walked to the side of the stage and like put my arm around someone. She like pulled out her camera, and we were like singing Drowning together, and then like there was a break in the lyrics, and I just like, something compelled me to be like, who needs a hug? Because I just hugged one person, and it's just like a very moving song. It's like the second to last song in the set, and I'd sing this song, you know, however many times at my shows and stuff, and I just started like hugging people in the front row and like grabbing their hands, and one guy reached out and grabbed my hand, and he just like squeezed it. And I'm not like big into astrology and like, you know, vibrations and blah blah blah, but I felt the vibrations of everybody in that room that night, and like I felt everybody's pain and how everybody was relating to that song. And it just like, it like went up my arm and into my heart, and like it made me like tear up. And usually I can like catch it and be like, no, like don't cry, but it literally hit me like a freaking train, and I started bawling on stage. Couldn't sing the end of the chorus, couldn't do anything. I was like like on stage trying to catch my breath. And because of that moment, being able to connect with people, I will write music and I will tour, and I will be uncomfortable for the rest of my life if it means helping somebody else. And like I feel like I say that a lot. I say that, you know, like on my Instagram post, and you know, I say that to people in meet and greets. Like I'm such an empath, and I'm like a giver, so I would rather me be uncomfortable if it means someone else is comfortable and feels loved and enough and helped. So physically I don't feel amazing, but like mentally, emotionally, it's draining, but it's also very rewarding at the same time.
Mm-hmm. It's an exciting time. Thank you so much for doing this interview.
Is that it?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Oh, sick.
Again, a big thank you to Anna for coming onto the podcast. Remember, go down in the description. There I'll have a link where you can stream her EP, Waves. Drowning is a personal favorite off that project of mine. So go make sure to check that out. Some awesome pop music on there. Also, links to her social media accounts so you can follow her, keep up to date. She's going on that tour supporting Nash, she mentioned. That's this summer. Make sure you go out there, and she's opening up on a couple dates. If she's coming to a city near you, definitely go out and check her live show. Again, a big thank you to Anna for just coming on to the podcast. And that'll do it for this episode of Anything Goes with Jackson Neill. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, go to jacksonneillpodcast.com if you're not on there already. Link is down in the description. There you can find all the episodes for this, as well as my sports and music podcasts. More episodes of those coming out soon. Also, if you really enjoy the content, if you really enjoyed this interview and you want some bonus content for all my Anything Goes interviews, make sure to go over to Patreon. There, link down in the description, you can become a subscriber for as little as $3 a month and get access to a lot of exclusive cool bonus content, and it really helps support the podcast. It's just me that does it. No one else. There's no team behind this. It's just me, a college student, so it would really, really help any little bit of support I get to offset some of the costs about making this podcast. Also down there, the last links, I promise, are links to my social media accounts at JacksonNeill20 to keep up to date with everything I am publishing. That's it. That's everything I've got to say. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you all next time.